Greetings, visitor. This is the scriptorium.
Woman, her upper features nothing more than an ill-defined smear of skin. Bows her head to you, her angular jawline and the pointed ears within her cowl resemble those of an elf.
If you seek the Temple of Revelation, you will find it to the north.
Quill in hand, the Skelpthrog. That's what it is. She makes a quick note in one leather-bound tone.
We came for answers, not directions. Are you the abomination in charge here?
The librarian does nothing beyond adding a quick line item to her lecture. Oh, she just write down. I guess we can figure that one. Do you mind answering if would you think I'm going to the temple?
Because you must. It is entry and exit.
Answer.
Ask what you seek.
The people here, you all seem a bit preoccupied.
The scriptorium was recently breached by one of the subjects from the collections. There is nothing to be concerned about, but it might impact the demeanors of those present here. How else might I help you?
Suppose it was a mask wizard.
Perhaps. If the wizard has procured a mask for himself, did you encounter him?
Can you tell me anything more about him?
I'm afraid not.
Shots a few more notes.
The individual in question's record has been expunged. He no longer exists.
Well.
A wizard of his standing is not so easily removed from history. Much like a tumor, bits of him are no doubt everywhere.
Postinago, it doesn't work that way. Records, ledgers, all of this is just scribbles, an expression, not the thing itself.
Charge of this place.
Of the scriptorium, in a manner of speaking. Of the halls obscured? No. That would be the Oracle. The Oracle of Wal. They manage the halls in the name of he who sees and is not seen.
Another zealot in service to the ghosts of Anguith.
Can I speak to the Oracle?
If the Oracle wishes to commune with you, they will do so.
Very convenient.
Yeah, I'm seeking an archmage.
She generally limits her excursions to the archives, though she was recently working at the Trephine.
Gestures towards a strange device to the south.
She respects our work, so the Oracle allows her limited access to the archives and scriptorium. They have established an accord.
You hear this? Never trust an archmage. They will conspire with anyone or anything if it serves their interests.
You seem to be the person to ask about the halls.
I will provide what answers I can.
Okay, so you write down stuff in the sectorium.
We record what occurs within the halls.
Only in the hall.
Whereas the wings contain those things redacted from the world above, the scriptorium keeps the history of the halls themselves.
Tell me about the archives.
The archives contain the sum whole of the historical record of Eora, both the original drafts and the edits.
Take care that you do not confuse the two. I have my doubts about the quality of a blind librarian's record-keeping.
Further, they contain a number of unusual and interesting artifacts. I believe that we are in possession of one of the warrior Riona's boots.
The purpose of the collections?
The collections store those individuals and creatures determined to be detrimental to Eora and the work of the gods.
Said as if they are one and the same.
Rather than allow the redacted materials to go to waste, we revise and anthologize, occasionally releasing amended texts.
Well, these change history to their liking. Is this the center of the hand occult?
A womb, perhaps, but not the fetus. The hand occult no more possesses a center than Well does.
Even their organization has tentacles. No matter how many limbs we cut, there is always something unspeakable to grow in its place.
They operate in decentralized cells then, not unlike the leaden key.
The leaden key and the hand occult's similarities persist by design. but not for much longer.
How long has Mora been coming here?
Decades. I would have to consult the records to provide a more precise answer. Her interest lay in the arcane applications of the Titan. The Oracle has determined that her studies benefit well.
This oracle would not have approved of Maura unless she had something to exploit.
It's true.
That is hardly comforting.
How else might I help you?
Stuff in the walls, assume that's connected to the body.
The Titan rests beneath the facility. Its ties to the halls obscured have grown extensive over time. Of course, as are you, as am I.
Yep.
Those of us who can see where we're going have a slight advantage over you, Sere.
That was creepy. Herald's horn. Oh yeah. So that's what that horn was. Godlike horn grows, first purple then bright red, before erupting in a shower of sparks that splay the floor around the blaze. So I take it I have to grab. Shining upon a book resting on the pedestal seems to darken the words of the volume pages. The writing goes slick and distinct, eventually running down the slanted pages and off to the tome entirely, into a trough set along the bottom of the lectern to catch it. Ink runs from between the pages as well, giving the impression that the book weeps. When the last of the ink dribbles from the book, the pages are left entirely blank. I need more stuff to... The squat device before you hums quietly, except that it's entirely silent. The humming sensation you realise happens not in your ears, but at the edge of your mind. Picture the keys you receive from the memory hoarder in your mind's eye. Place your hands on either side of the machine. The not quite sound grows louder. It gives you impressions of a growling stomach, hungry for something within you. Prickling sensation scales your arms, sliding into the joints of your shoulder and slipping up your spine into the base of your skull. You feel it lessen somehow, or something slips from the mind like something you just meant to say. It flows down your arms into the tripling, which whirls contently. The machine quiets, returning to its inactive state. Nothing further happens.
Table the discussion for a second, Len. It seems the collection spat out our mutual friend in one piece.
You can say that again.
You know, you've been given any number of second chances at life. Ever stop and think of paying that generosity forward? The prisoners could have used a respite from misery.
They tried to kill me.
Have you made any headway in locating our wayward archmage?
But yeah, the collection is a festering pit of cruelty and manipulation. I'm lucky I made it out with senses intact.
You raise an interesting point. How would you even know if the collections had gotten under your skin, huh?
Lovely.
Can you trust anything you wrote in that journal you carry around?
My journal. My journal. No, everything is into it.
You know what? Ignore my ramblings. If you got it down on parchment, then I'm sure your account is verifiable.
No progress on Maura, then? Maura is tenacious and reckless. She won't hesitate to unleash horror upon the world if it would serve her purposes. And she won't stop until she's secured her goal. I encourage you to hurry.
While you were on Maura's trail, we've learned a bit more about our unusual environs.
Certainly not from exploring them himself.
That's true.
How much can he learn from the lobby?
A finger of the hand occult has kept this place going with a skeleton crew of librarians, archivists, and muscle. But they aren't the ones controlling the body. Something else is running the halls obscured independently, and doing a decent job of it.
Your definition of what constitutes decency is dubious at best.
Well, these halls are more lively than most of the abandoned sanctums I've visited.
Collection works shorten prisoners on a means of controlling them.
Something here is invested in maintaining old projects. Whoever they are, they haven't seen fit to show their face.
Stay on task, Tane. Regardless of how interesting this sanctum's keepers may be, Maura's whereabouts remain our chief concern.
Searching for her.
Given Maura's proclivities, your best option is likely to be...
It continues to speak, but you lose her words in a sudden rush of essence. The energy tears your attention towards a disturbance in the center of the antechamber. A disturbance, presence. I also feel that.
I'm led to understand you've sent those poor souls in the collections on to their next lives. Tane's intention to send them into the world stuffed with memories not their own was cruel and dangerous. You've done a merciful thing. I hope you'll sleep well knowing that.
I hope so.
Let's sate your curiosity then. To be many within a single vessel. We, are the distillation of generations. Each successive Lengrath reinvigorates the whole, and saves us from festering. When I turn my gaze inward, when I look upon the past, I do so through my predecessor's eyes. When any Lengrath dies, that person ceases to be, as it is when any kith's life ends. Yet Lengrath endures, now and always. But I told you this once before, when we met at Morhek Ian. Perhaps Bareth stole that memory from you.
The self is little more than an amalgamation of memory and feeling that informs the disposition of the soul. It doesn't alone define it. Given that understanding, I suppose what she describes is not entirely impossible.
But how can memories remain if the soul continues to the wheel?
I have no idea, folks.
Very well.
Asking me.
You know, I thought I heard a prolonged shriek of mortal agony follow in your wake.
Yeah, they're all dead, yeah.
All this obsession over death has caused you to fray at the seams. Better keep an eye on that. Here, coins for the killer. Isn't that how you mercenaries like it? You did what you did. The world is a little quieter now. I just think it's sad.
No, not really, no. The hand occult manages the halls obscured, correct?
I'd be surprised if most of the hand even knows that this place exists. They want the world to think they write travel guides and circulate pamphlets of local history. It gets shady when you read past the margins. Things don't always add up. Not even the hand could tell you which facts they edited for convenience's sake, which ones they spelled out, and which ones they spelled wrong. And this could be where it all happens.
How do you separate the facts from the hands?
That is a head-scratcher.
That's true.
I suppose the solution is to be skeptical. You have to ask yourself, how much do you trust anything in a book? Does a story become more true because someone paused to write it down? I should really charge for discourse this engaging.
Postenago, you couldn't pay me to listen.
Yeah.
If we're to be indulging outsized egos, I'd rather listen to Isilmir's prattle.
There's Brattle. Well, she's not here. Oh, she's no longer there. Took care of her. What's the hand's objective?
If they ever had one, you can bet they've changed it a dozen times over the years. Anyone who wants to control information on that scale wants to engineer society. Whatever they plan on doing with that power, you can bet they'll lose control over it in the end. You don't keep something like a society constrained to just one vision.
Lingra, what do you think of the hand?
Some speak of the hand occult as hyper-competent masters of four-dimensional Hazatoa, when they know of them at all. In truth, the hand's operations are haphazard and ill-executed. We know they exist because they inevitably leave evidence of their work wherever they go. That they succeed in spite of themselves is hardly evidence of the hand's competence.
On to know.
Amateurs. Time and again, their agents showed up at my doorstep and wormed their way into my confidence, hoping to sabotage my research. I sent them home with bags of their own teeth, as a parting reminder that my time is precious and my patience thin.
Alright.
Ask away. You know me. I'm an open book with plenty of pictures.
Oh, you're really not. You're serious and all that jazz. So, I guess I'm going in here, whatever it is.
As you approach the pool, an unpleasant weight grows in the pit of your stomach. It feels like the moment the floor gives out beneath you, just before the plunge, but somehow suspended in time. A sensation like static electricity tingles across your skin. A whirling vortex of essence twists within the pool. It does not stir the water around it in the slightest. Langrath and Tane watch you from afar, the latter's expression bright with undisguised curiosity. Langrath's countenance, on the other hand, remains characteristically guarded. Its cold, dusky energy feels somehow familiar, but you're unable to identify it, or what might be causing it.
I suppose any of you know what this is?
Looks like water to me.
Definitely no water. Reaches in and splashes you, obvious to its hand, disturbing.
Unusual arcane energy emanates from the pool. If the Watcher can see it, I suspect it's some form of window into the divine realms.
That was my second guess.
I won't hazard guesses, Captain, but it feels something like a specter or shade, though almost inviting.
You see something there? Then it must have to do with the fabric of reality, or else you have eaten something which did not agree with you.
Reach. The only thing I can do is reach out, I suppose.
It reaches back towards you, tendrils of soul energy interlacing with the prodding edges of your own spirit. The coils of essence tighten, grasping at your soul, pulling at you as you've pulled the souls of others. Your vision blurs as the in-between leaks into your perception of the here. The walls, the pool, everything of the Temple of Revelation runs like water, sloughing away and melting into the empty blackness of the in-between. Not quite empty, no. The fleshy, undulating tendrils of the body of WoW remain, almost aglow in the darkness.
Wait, now we've got to deal with another god. Gods that I've got to deal with. Oh god, that is awesome. That is not so awesome. No. And the entity's presence presses against the edge of your mind, of your soul, resolving into a soundless voice in the back of your head.
You see, but are also seen, as is your trespass.
As is your... What do you mean trespass? You opened the gate.
Ah, another involuntary invitation to another world. And I'm to assume this eyeball is to blame?
The mind behind those eyes. This entity's intellect. It's staggering.
It's a very literal step back from the creature.
Do not listen to this walking nightmare. It is an illusion baiting us to lunge at shadows.
On your guard, Watcher.
What are you, interloper?
Yeah, let's be cryptic. You've never seen a dwarf before?
We see many things. Your people spread like insects across them all. That is not the knowledge we seek. You intrude upon the resting place of WoW and soil these collections with your filthy fingers. We would know. Are you one more wizard in pursuit of unearned power? Or something other?
I am no herald. No. Though I am many things, I am no wizard.
Yet you travel in the company of wizards.
Make me a wizard, doesn't it?
You have proven yourself a murderer and a thief.
Probably, yep.
We cannot allow you to enter the body, nor to visit harm upon it. Your destructive trespass within these halls cannot be forgiven.
Lovely.
Farewell.
Fairly well. Oh, great. Lovely jubbly. Here we go.
Aye.
Body affliction. Right. Another one.
Scarcely believe it.
Yeah. Been some damage to it now. No reason why. Wow, that was a one shot. What? Anger and pain roils off the sagging entity swooping over you.
Skeet!
Closes her eyes and adjusts her glasses, and the creature's agony, or your experience of it, seems blunted.
Unacceptable!
Entity quivers, one of its eye stalks glaring balefully at you.
You are defeated. Impede us no further.
You disrupt our precious library, spoil our artifacts, and yet expect release? We should...
Winces with every eye.
Fine! Go! We release you! Interfere no further!
Hardly in a position to make demands.
What is the alternative? Staying here? I hate to say it, Kazita,
Place
but
is
the
cozy,
eyeball
you know?
creature might know best.
Go! Flee! Escape! Abscond! Issue forth!
Eyes flutter as you feel a tingling sensation like static dance across your skin. Stomach leaks within your belly as the darkness deepens. I can't even look. What? Cons.
You okay there? Looking a little rough around the edges.
I think we just met the one who's running this place. Emily shoots you an expression of genuine surprise. She quickly stifles it.
I suppose I should have expected Well would leave something behind to guard this place. For now, you must get to the archives. So long as Maura has free reign of this place, Eora remains in grave danger. Very well.
Always nice to see a friendly face, even if it doesn't have any skin on it.
Cons are hot.
I despise you, Tane. If I had hands, I would wring your scrawny neck. That goes for everyone in earshot.
The head rotates, is taking its surroundings.
What a filthy, disorganized hovel.
You want to talk? I saw your library at Colholt.
You have no basis on which to judge me, simpleton. I've seen what you carry.
Adolf's his eye.
Ugh. I have forgotten how much I detest mortal company. The stench alone is unbearable.
I have questions.
We have nothing to discuss, you insipid pustule. I have found more competent sea captains floating face down in watery graves.
Lovely.
What would you like to know?
What do you know about body?
It will swallow you like a piece of half-chewed gristle, depositing you where you belong atop a divine dung heap. Beyond that, I know little.
Would you look at that? Consul Hot, the all-knowing, finds a blind spot in his education.
Education.
Underestimating me would be your greatest mistake, apprentice. One that I will not stop you from making.
Any thoughts on the current mission?
Our mission? If you presume to imagine that we have similar goals, allow me to correct your catastrophic error in judgment.
Oh, fantastic. You've wound him up again.
We have only one thing in common. We both want you to die.
Why would you want that?
I am indifferent to your existence, but you clearly desire a worthy end. Isn't it obvious? The way you launch yourself into peril at every turn? These are the actions of one who has lived too long, wandered too far, and willingly climbs to the precipice of oblivion. Self-annihilation is the most natural ambition a sentient mind can achieve. And when you find yours, I will be there to cheer you on.
Well, at least I've got a cheerleader.
I will be listening, Watcher. I always am. And when my time comes, you will pray for the indignity of bobbing in my shadow. No, yours will be a more horrible fate. That is a promise.
I miss that guy.
You aren't the best in terms? Well, obviously nobody is.
It's not like that. We're good friends. We just disagree on everything.
Your chaotic orb is amateurish folly. Any half-wit can lose control of a spell and be delighted by its unpredictable consequences. Your career should have been consigned to the waste bin of history before it even began.
That's our console hot, right? You old trickster.
Oh, the old trickster. Yeah, he's